Bada bing, bada boom. Realest guys in the room. How you doing? Okay, so I'm back. And I'm gonna be now it's finally the off season. Congratulations to the Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl again. Am I mad about that? I don't really know. I wanted the Niners to win, but I didn't really care that the Chiefs won. So I wasn't really upset. I'm more just indifferent about it. It's like they won back-to-back. They're a dynasty. I mean, it is what it is. You want to win the Super Bowl in the AFC? You want to be an AFC team to win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl? You got to go through the Chiefs. It's simple as that. But congrats to them. But now it's finally the offseason, which is sometimes my favorite part of NFL season, because the NFL season never stops. Sometimes it's my favorite part, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is my favorite part, like because that time when we got DeAndre Hopkins, and then we was all hyped thinking that we was gonna be a playoff team, which was complete falsification. And then there's other times where it's, oh my God, I hated this offseason because we just traded A.J. Brown because John Robinson is the absolute worst general manager in the history of general managers. And there are a lot of bad general managers. But here we are. We're finally at the offseason. So it's time to get to talking about what we're going to do in free agency and possibly in the draft. Yeah, I definitely want to do the draft. But I was going to do this like a few weeks ago. I was going to do this before the Super Bowl had ended, but I got sick. So, and I could barely speak for like 2 weeks. So I was just like, I'll wait till after the Super Bowl. Makes sense anyway. But I'm going to start with free agency and do some free agent needs that the Titans have. We need almost every position, basically. We need almost every position. The only position I'd say we don't need is QB, and that's about it. And even QB, I'm like iffy because I don't like Malik Willis as my backup at all. I don't like Malik Willis as my backup because it's let's be honest, we don't know what the O-line gonna look like, and I'll get to the O-line free agents in some other time. But yeah, right now I'm gonna start with the wide receivers. And I got I got my top 5 wide receivers that I think we should try to go after this year. Number 5 is Tyler Boyd. Yeah. Number 5 is Tyler Boyd. He's a veteran. He knows he's been in a winning culture for a long time. Not a long time with Cincy, but past 3-4 years since he's been really good. So he knows how to win. That's Brian Callahan's guy. He's a Brian Callahan guy. He can be our slot receiver. And the main issue I have is that I think he's going to be 30 this year. So it's like, why would you want to bring in another 30-year-old, even though he's not actually 30 yet, but he will be 30, I think, at some point during the season. So it's like, why would you want to bring in another 30-year-old? We're trying to rebuild the team, or retool the team. I don't think it's a rebuild, honestly. I don't think it's a rebuild. This team is better than people think. It's not a rebuild. But I don't know if Tyler Boyd will be the best option for a long term, but maybe like 2-year deal. We could rock with that. He could train in. He could be the guy to. Him and D-Hop can teach the young receiver that we draft, and Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips, and then we can go from there. I honestly don't think that Traylon Burks is going to be on the team after next year. I don't believe it. I hope that he pans out. Like, I hope he gets like a year 3 surge going. That would be great. But him and Kyle Phillips, I'm just not seeing it. Kyle Phillips is actually better than people think he is, but him and Kyle Phillips, I just don't think that either one of them is going to be on the team within the next maybe 2 or 3 years. But Tyler Boyd could be a good option. Actually, he would be a good option. He's also a healthy option. He's only missed 4 games in the last 4 years. I would definitely love to have have a receiver who stays healthy for the majority of the year. Like, D-Hop was the only receiver we had that was good throughout the whole year. Now, I know Kyle Phillips was a healthy scratch for like a large amount of the second half of the year, but he also got hurt. He did get hurt earlier in the year, and we didn't have him the whole year. And of course, Burks is just an injury machine, and it really sucks, but that's what it is. So, number 5 is Tyler Boyd. Number 4 is Marquise Brown from Arizona, because this team needs speed, and he is speed. Like, if that's the main thing that I think that we need on both sides of the ball is speed. We don't have any speed. D-Hop, he ain't that fast. Let's be real. He ain't that fast. I know he was catching the deep balls for us, but if you look at all the deep balls he caught, just the ones he caught, all of them were contested except one. I remember all of his deep balls. Every single one of them were contested except one. And that's just because he ran a great route, because he's a great route runner. But number 4, I got Marquise Brown. Now, he ain't great. Now, that's partially because I think Arizona as a whole was not great. But he's not, you know what I'm saying? But as a number 2, a deep threat, he's still fairly young. I think he's only 26. So, he would be a good option if you want to bring some downfield speed to this team, which we need to do. Whether we do it in we need to do it in free agency and the draft. We need speed. So Marquise Brown would be a great choice. But not for like 4 years, not for like a 4-year deal. That's another like 2-year deal. You can get something out of him. If you get something out of him, you can re-sign him again and keep it pushing. And he be on the other side of our other receiver that we draft this year if we draft a good receiver and if that receiver pans out. But yeah, number 3, I got Curtis Samuel. Now, I know you're probably like, look, Curtis Samuel at number 3 over Marquise Brown and Tyler Boyd. He ain't that good. It's like, I'm not saying that he's better than them, but I think that he could be better than them. In my opinion, I think he honestly is better than them. Washington used him, it seemed like, more as a playmaker type of receiver, like slot, get him the ball quickly, let him work. But he could be a deep threat too. I mean, he's fast as well. He's also young, even though he's been in the league for a while. He's also young, so he could play. He could be our deep receiver too. So that would be a good choice as well. And then I got number 2, Gabe Davis. I was kind of iffy on Gabe Davis. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I like his play style, and I think that he also was a lot better because he had Josh Allen. I mean, we got Will Levis. He could end up being Josh Allen. So I don't think that's that big of a thing. But I like Gabe Davis at number 2. He's another deep threat. I don't think he's as fast as Samuel and Brown, but he's another deep threat. That's all he did in Buffalo, was be a deep threat and catch passes for long games. Like, he would be great as our wide receiver 2 behind D-Hop, and then we bring in another receiver in the draft. He would be great. And you'd probably have to put out a lot of money to get him. Probably, if you do a 4-year deal, it'd probably be 50, 60, maybe 70 million. Maybe a little bit more than that. We don't know, because the market shifts so many times. Like I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. But by the time we actually get to free agency, things could have completely changed by then. So, but I like Gabe. I think Gabe Davis would be a great addition. And now my number one is not who you think it is. It's not T. Higgins. It's Calvin Ridley. Number one for me is Calvin Ridley. He had that year off where he got suspended for gambling, and then he came back and he showed that he could still be a top receiver in the league with Jacksonville. And Ridley's my number one because I think he would complement D-Hop so well, and we can get a young receiver, and that's a great trio right there. That's a wonderful trio. That's an excellent trio. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ridley still got it. Okay, he had 1,000 yards this year. He cut the Titans up quick hard. He cut us up in that last game. He scored a deep ball. He can still be a deep threat. He's still a deep threat. He still got that deep threat ability. Now, yes, I know he's about to turn 30 as well, but I feel like he would still be pretty good. I think he would be better than Tyler Boyd at 30 than I think he'd be better than Tyler Boyd at 30. Now it's like, oh, we've got two 30-plus-year-old wide receivers. What the heck are we doing? Well, we still have two young receivers that we drafted not that long ago. We're probably going to draft another one in this draft because now we have a head coach who knows how to draft wide receivers. So I don't think it's that big of an issue. And plus, I had younger guys like Gabe Davis, who's only, I think, 24, 25. Gabe Davis is only 25. Samuel's only 26 or 27. And then Marquise Brown's only 26. So they're young. I got young options. I got old options. So, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. But Ridley, I think, is my number one. Now, of course, people are probably like, where the heck is T. Higgins? Where the heck is, there's Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's better than all of them. And where the heck is you got Mike Evans? Mike Evans is good. It's like, Mike Evans? I don't want Mike Evans, okay? He's old too, and then I just don't feel like he would fit well. He's basically another D-Hop. Except he's slower and not as good of a route runner. I don't think I want Mike Evans. And then Michael Pittman, he's going to get re-signed by the Colts. Like, that's not good. There's no chance there. And then T. Higgins is going to get franchise tagged, which actually, I just saw it not that long ago. He is expected to be franchise tagged by Cincinnati, so he doesn't hit free agency this year. I just saw that on Twitter. So that's dead and buried. The only way we would get him is if we trade for him now, which would cost a lot of draft capital, and we ain't got it. All right? I'd assume we'd have to give up our second round pick this year, and then maybe one or two, maybe even three more picks. So I'm not really trying to do. I'm not in that camp no more. I was really never in that. I was really never in that camp for getting T. Higgins because I knew it would be impossible based on our situation. Same thing with Brandon Ayuk, because there's some rumblings that Brandon Ayuk might not be back. He might be asking for a trade this offseason. So that's going to be interesting. But I don't think we'll be able to get him either. Let's honestly take trades completely out of the table when it comes to free agency. All right? Unless it's a draft trade where we trade down and get some more picks. I think that would be the only trade that I'd be okay with, because I don't want to trade for anybody. And then we really don't have anyone good enough to trade away except D-Hop. But I'd rather keep D-Hop so he can keep teaching our young wide receivers. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I think next I'm probably going to go to defense. Offensive line, I want to do offensive line, but that's a lot tougher to do. So I might hold off on that one for a while. But I think I'm going defense, and I think I'm going corner. That's probably where I'm going next. If not corner, I think I might do DBs as a whole, like corners and safeties. Because we ain't got no safe. As much as I like Amani Hooker, nigga can't stay healthy. I mean, the dude just does not stay healthy. And it's kind of ridiculous. Like, we paid him, I think we gave him like a 3-year, $30 million deal, and it's been the same thing. It's been the same thing that it had been like the past 4 years before that. So I like Amani Hooker. He's good when he can play, but he does not play a lot. So, and then our other safety is who was it last year? It was Terrell Edmonds, but I don't think we're gonna keep him. They moved Elijah Molden to safety, which I didn't like because it's like he's a corner. He's an inside corner. He basically is another slot corner. But y'all played him like a slot corner, even though you listed him as a safety. You played him like a slot corner, so he got cooked all the time. Instead of having Roger McCreary at slot corner, which he was great. But anyway, I'll get in the corner next time. That's it for me. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Deuces in the cabooses.
We appreciate all the supporters. Most importantly, we appreciate the haters.